Hello, everybody. So it is me, the Kaneologist, also known as Kane. Uh, but yeah, call me the Kaneologist. Gonna be talking about a concept of a mental model to kind of get yourself from A to B. So here, I'm about to bring on this whiteboard that I have in the background. But what I want to talk about is like how do we get from A to B? And A to B could be anything. It could be a product, a service, some sort of goal, some sort of task you want to complete. All A to B is a representation of starting state and your end state, your desired state. So let's go to the whiteboard here. But before that, I just want to recommend this book, Practical Metaphysics by Eric Butterworth. For some reason, butter, whenever I hear the word butter something, it reminds me of like butter chicken because I'm Indian and like naan bread and shit like that. But this is more so about mental models and you could say law of attraction, but I like to call it a mental model because this isn't just some wish-wash kind of methodology. We're trying to create steps for ourselves to maximize the odds of getting from A to B. So first, let's take a look at the whiteboard here. So this is A, this is B. This is the start, this is the end. Right, so A to B is some sort of state and some sort of end state. So start and end state. Next thing I want to figure out is along this way there's a bunch of increments. Right? Could be something here. So every single day what you want to do if you want to get from A to B, if you have some sort of goal, is you want to find a way to move the needle. This is the grand direction. Right? And in this grand direction, you have A, which is your starting point, and a straight line going to B. So if everything went well, you follow this path to B, and now you're at where you want to be. But it's not that simple, right? Sometimes we have our life, we have kids, work, jobs, we have other commitments, family members, friends. So like I guess relationships, things like that, intangibles, things like your health, tangibles, things like your car, your house, right? Like all these little things kind of either take you back towards A or drive you towards B, or they keep you stagnant, right? So what I want to do is I want to figure out how to move this needle towards B at all times and try to maximize those odds. So it could be, for example, let's say no code, because we are on the Kaneologist, right? So let's talk about code. Can code well. So if I want to move this needle, I have to look at this day by day. Can code well is a big goal, so it's going to take time. So what I would want to do is, let's say if I do elite code a day, it takes me here. If I work on an app, it takes me here. If I create content, it takes me here. And then every single day, as long as you keep incrementing, you're going to end up at B. So let's erase this. So now we can do things to kind of build momentum. Now that we know just basic things over time, so this is T, over time, actions over time, so we can even create an equation for this. Actions, correct actions. over time equals result. So if you take enough actions, correct actions over time, you get to B. It's inevitable. So now we look at things like proof stacking. So for example, if you have some sort of portfolio, right? So now let's say instead of building a project, you have a portfolio. Now you add that to your bin of projects. So anytime someone sees one project, they might see the other 3 that you've done. So instead of going one step, like we did by doing a leak code every day, we go 5 steps. Or even we could go directly to B. Depends, right? So depending on what you do, you can move this needle even further or accelerate the process of getting from A to B. Right? Another method could be if you are working at some sort of startup, right? Or if you're working at some sort of company, right? Instead of just doing a leak code a day and going 1, now you're learning things, now you're building things, now you're testing things. So it takes you to like maybe 4 steps in a day that you would have gotten by just doing 1 leak code. So the next concept I want to talk about is positive and negative with this. So everyone always talks about the attitude of gratitude. So what does that mean, right? So if things go well, you still increment. And here's where gratitude comes in. When things don't go your way, so for example, you get stacked with another task, right? You can find a way to mentally shift that. So for example, let's say instead of 1 task per day, your coworker calls in sick and now you have to take on their 2 tasks. Plus 2, 3 tasks. So what's the trade-off here? You might not get to go home early. Big whoop, right? But with these 2 additional tasks, you can now skip 2 more steps towards B. So you can even find ways to be grateful for the things that don't go your way, because those things can also add to your trajectory towards B. So what you really should take away from this is all paths on your trajectory to the goal will get you to the goal. It's just that now you can take anything good or bad, or within your favor, without your favor, and then use that to kind of drive you towards B, like in an accelerated fashion. So that's something I want you to keep in mind. And you could do simple things like reframing. So let's talk about like some sort of reframe, right? Let's erase all this. So let's talk about reframing. So instead of getting 3 tasks, I'm going to reframe that and say I'm 3 steps closer to B. I'm 3 steps closer to B. So now I've converted annoying work into rewarding work, because that work that was originally assigned to me is no longer just meaningless. There's some sort of purpose there. It gets me to B. It gets me to be faster. What happens when you get to B, right? More money. More opportunities. More connections, right? You get more skills. So you can take this bad thing and convert it into something good. And this will help you also with motivating yourself like daily. So for example, if you get bored, right? Oh, man, like I'm done my 1 task, what do I do? And like, I got to take on these other 2 tasks. Now you get to build up 4 different things: skills, money, opportunities, connections, right? You could strengthen your reputation, right? That's another thing. So like all these things could be used and reframed to get you from that A to B state. So yeah, that's some food for thought for your, if you're on that path from going from, let's say, no code to code as a developer. And you can apply this to pretty much anything. I just wanted to share that with you because that's one of the models that I use when I'm trying to get from a point A to B in terms of skill development, in terms of a project, in terms of a timeline. You could even work backwards, but what I find is I like to let the world kind of play its course. And you can kind of get some sort of surprise factor from that. Like some people like to take it a step further and just build some sort of list, work backwards step by step by step, and then go from their backwards steps and follow all those in succession. Like for me, I like that variance. I never know what's going to happen, but I know the general direction of where I'm going. So that is, I'm going to leave you with that, and let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you tried it.